everyone, back again. It's Evan Ebert here, and thanks for watching my last Fictional CMA. I had some good reception for that, so I felt inspired to make another one, and I had a good suggestion, so I hope you really liked it, and here we go. In my last Fictional CMA video, I covered Bilbo Baggins at Bag End. I was kindly corrected by one viewer that it is in fact Bag End and not Bag's End. No apostrophe, no S, my bad. Funny thing was, I actually had included in that video's original script a short sentence saying that I apologize in advance if I mispronounce anything or get the lore wrong. I knew it was bound to happen. And I'm afraid that once again today, I'll be traipsing into dangerous territory, since we're going to be looking at another franchise that's equally, if not more, popular than The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. You want to take a guess what it is? Any idea? It starts with an H and ends with it's Harry Potter. But it might not be what you're expecting. Most folks asked me to take a look at Hogwarts Castle, and while that's definitely something I want to do down the road for you, I'm actually going to start a little bit smaller. Actually, a lot smaller. With a house that's more humble and down to earth, quite literally. And I am, of course, talking about the residence of everybody's favorite half-giant, Rubeus Hagrid.
Isn't he beautiful? Oh, bless him, look, he knows his mummy. Ooh, well, he'll have to be trained up a bit, of course.
Yes, the quirky yet wise pseudo-father figure from Harry Potter. Hagrid is the gamekeeper and the keeper of the keys at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, as well as the professor of care for magical creatures. Hagrid has had a long and esteemed career as a secondary character in the Harry Potter franchise, dropping really great one-liners, such as
Dry up, Dursley, you great prune.
And also,
very clearly the bones are not broken.
Broken? There's no bones left.
Much more flexible, though.
But today, we are more interested in where Hagrid shacks up during the school year, and probably in the summer. But yes, Hagrid's private hut on the edge of the Hogwarts campus. In fact, the actual cottage location is outside of Glencoe, Scotland, and it was rendered there using state-of-the-art visual technology. You can see that this tourist I found on YouTube went to the trouble of tracking it down for me. Check that out. A nice and cozy hut, Hagrid's home frequently appears as a sanctuary to Harry and his friends throughout hard times, and it's particularly famous for its depiction in the third movie, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which is my personal favorite in the series, by the way. But before we dive into Hagrid's hut and get started, I have to tell you, this is no ordinary episode of Fictional Market Analysis, because Hagrid is going head-to-head with a rival. Somebody who has a rival property in nearly the same market. Somebody who's reclusive, living in the outskirts of the forest. Somebody who is probably even less hygienic than Hagrid himself. Do you know anybody like that?
Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me.
Oh yes. Have you ever considered the similarities between these two? Both Shrek and Harry Potter take place in fantasy universes, with Harry Potter being a world far away with witchcraft and wizardry, and Shrek being in Far, Far Away, the land of fairy tales. Both Hagrid and Shrek live in a ramshackle hut near the edge or in the middle of the woods. Both are bachelors, I think, except, well, I take that back. Shrek does end up getting with Fiona. But, they're living alone in their huts for at least a while. And dare I say, they're both probably pretty vile in a few ways. I'll give Hagrid some credit. He did comb his hair that one time.
Hagrid, have you combed your hair?
As a matter of fact, I have. You might like to try the same thing now and again.
And Shrek, well, he brushes his teeth. And by the way, both of these were recommended to me by the Jersa family to do, and I loved the premise of it, so shout out to you guys, thanks for recommending this, and everybody else, if you've got another analysis you'd like to see, throw it down in the comments. So I think I've set things up pretty well here. Let's get into it, let's see what these homes are worth. We're going to start with Hagrid first. Hagrid's hut sits on the edge of the campus at Hogwarts, and while the castle looks truly impressive, looming in the distance, Hagrid's hut has some undeniable charm and coziness to it. Hagrid's hut is pretty bare bones on the living quarters. Actually, there isn't even a bedroom or bathroom. It's rare that we really all see it at once, but according to the official Harry Potter fandom, it's only one bedroom. There is a fireplace, an ample-sized kitchen, I'm sure you'd find a place to sleep, a pretty amazing view of the mountains, and all within the peace and solitude of Hogwarts campus, right by the Forbidden Forest. Hagrid also has a fire pit outside that probably is great for entertaining people at bonfires, so we're going to add a few points for hosting value there. And also, the lake is pretty close by too. Not quite sure how far away it is, but if you wanted to go take a dip, I don't think it'd be a problem. Hagrid also had a nice garden area. We've seen him grow pumpkins and some other things. He's also had at least a hippogriff and a baby dragon living with him, so fit for roommates. The real value in Hagrid's hut comes from the important conversations and moments shared with Harry, Ron, and Hermione and Hagrid. And several of the key moments in the entire series actually took place or began via a conversation in Hagrid's hut. However, it does come with some downsides. For one, being on the Hogwarts grounds, it's likely that Hagrid doesn't really own the hut. More than likely, Dumbledore probably allows him to stay there during the year as a Hogwarts staff member. Hagrid probably doesn't pay any rent, but he probably doesn't have title to the hut either. I would imagine you'd probably have to take that up with the Hogwarts administration. And also, living quite close to the Forbidden Forest, it's either a pro or a con, depending on the buyer. The proximity to dangerous creatures might scare some people out of there, like the spiders, for example. Or for others, they might actually find the whole experience to be pretty exhilarating. Sort of like your own Airbnb in the middle of the woods. Either way, if I were marketing Hagrid's property, I'd probably say something like, "Adventure awaits you." You get the idea. I think Hagrid may make some points back here, surely based on the size of his lot. We can't tell exactly how much acreage he has, since there's no clear boundary of where his grounds begin and end, but it seems like he's got at least 3 acres he could reasonably call his own. Oh, I should also mention, certain depictions of Hagrid's house make it look like he's got a pretty crummy roof. So that's likely going to get called out on the home inspection. I can't imagine it stays super dry in there. And according to the official Harry Potter wiki, Hagrid's house has one room inside with, and I quote, ham and pheasants hanging overhead. So, just so you know. All told, I think it would be generous to say that Hagrid's hut is 600 square feet on the inside, so we're gonna go with that for the sake of this analysis. Let's go check on Shrek. Alright, before I go any further, I want to reiterate I am not a lore expert on Shrek. I saw the first one, like we all did. Pretty sure I saw the second one when it came out, but it's been a long time, you know? I've done some research, but I'm not really planning on sitting through Shrek the Third and Shrek Forever After. So right off the bat, we know that this swamp is fully and rightly Shrek's own. He's got Hagrid beat on that one, since Hogwarts owns Hagrid's hut. We see Shrek brushing his teeth in the mirror and taking a bath, so we could assume that he's at least got a bathroom. If you take a look at Shrek's house, you'll realize that it's actually built into a tree. Talk about living off the land. According to the official Shrek fandom, Shrek's swamp has 2 rooms. The first is the main room, which functions as both a kitchen and a dining room, and there's a little bed in there for the ogre triplets. And west of the main room is Shrek and Fiona's bedroom. Outside, he has an ogre mud bath, or swamp, where he can relax and play with his children. And the roof? Well, it's a tree. And hey, before we get too judgy, I do seem to remember somebody else who lived in a tree. But anyway, back to the swamp. Okay, we're gonna dive into the analysis for Shrek first. Because I can't select far, far away as a location to analyze, I'm gonna pick something in Washington that reminds me of Shrek's home. So how about Swamp Creek? It's a tributary of the Sammamish River up here in Snohomish and King County. Seems pretty fitting, right? So we've input our search criteria here, and I want to find anything nearby that fits the basic stats for both Hagrid and Shrek. We're not going to find many houses with no bathrooms, so let's go for a search primarily based on square footage and waterfront access. Alright, looks like we're primarily in the outskirts of Seattle. That works. It would probably be hard for Shrek to adjust to the urban life around here, but I'm sure he'd adapt eventually. So with the assumption that Shrek's home is about 850 square feet, it's likely that his home would be worth anywhere from $540,000 to $580,000, depending on how scared off people are by the whole living in a tree that an ogre once inhabited thing. If Shrek was looking to get a place that was similar to his around here, I'd probably steer him up north toward Concrete, Washington, or maybe somewhere in East Arlington. Maybe even east of the mountains. Depends on his commute. Actually, does Shrek work? Is ogre a taxable occupation? Anyhow, let's see how Hagrid fares under these same stats. Hagrid has no bedrooms in his hut, and no real plumbing, and a bad roof. But with his 600 square foot hut, it looks like he'd probably be bringing in around $400,000 max for his cozy little hut. But man, I'd hate to see Hagrid sell his hut. So many memories and wonderful moments shared there. It really is one of a kind. Maybe he should just hang on to it. And with that, it looks like we have a pretty clear winner here. Shrek's insane tree house in the middle of the swamp is worth substantially more than Hagrid's hut, Hogwarts Castle aside. And plus, Hagrid would have to write a lot of stuff on his seller disclosure if he ever wanted to actually sell his place. He literally once had soul-sucking dementors in his backyard. Maybe he should just keep it as a vacation rental. Our winner of this market analysis battle is Shrek, with a value of up to $580,000 for his swampy manor. I really hope you enjoyed that analysis of Shrek versus Hagrid. Were you surprised by the outcome? Would you live in a tree? Do you have a suggestion for a new video? If you said yes to any of those, please, I'd love to hear from you. These do take a lot of time to put together, so if you could share it on your feed, I'd be eternally grateful. And as always, if you have real estate questions outside of the realms of fiction, I'm here to help. So I hope you have a great week, and thanks for tuning in. See you next time.